G'day YouTubers. Over the years I've used various methods of getting burley down to the fish, ranging from throwing scoops of it onto the surface and letting it disperse, to putting it in a paper bag with a stone and lowering it down and then giving a strong jerk on the line to rupture the bag and let the burley disperse on the bottom. Most of the time lately I've been using a plastic bucket with some big sinkers in it to try and get the burley bucket down. This works well when there's no current, but when the current is running really strong, the bucket doesn't get anywhere near the bottom. Personally, I want to disperse the burley near the depth where the fish are going to be. If I'm chasing a bottom feeding species, then I don't want the burley dispersed halfway up the water column. The burley bucket I've been using for the last few years is too light in a strong current. When I'm fishing in 20 metres of water in a strong current, I might not be able to get that burley bucket even halfway down to that depth, because the current just grabs it and washes it back. And it's like a big pendulum on the end of the rope. It comes up away from the bottom. What I'm after is a bucket that has a better chance of getting closer to the bottom in a strong current, so I'm going to make my own. I have this piece of perforated stainless steel tube, which is ideal for the job, and I plan to make a burley bucket that weighs a little bit over 5 kilos with it. It's a piece of 15 centimetre tubing, so there's a lot more surface area for the current to work on, but there's also a lot more weight in it to help it go down, so I have high hopes that it will do what I want. So with all that said, let's get into the video of the construction. I got this stainless steel doohickey. I got no idea what it is really. It's a stainless steel mesh. It's got some rings welded inside it to give it the shape. It's about 150 millimeters in diameter and I guess 300 and something long. 13 3/8 inches, so 340 mils. This is going to be my burley pot. I'm going to seal the bottom of it with lead, build a weight into the bottom, show you that as it happens, and I'm going to make a top for it. It'll hinge off and attach some ropes to it, and that should make a good burley pot and attract lots of big fish. I've got this tin to help me make the base to a burley pot, and I've got this tool to mark a set distance in. I don't know what these are called. This tool's older than I am. And I calculated how much I need of lead to make this weigh about 6 kilos. So when I cut that off, fill it up with lead, it should be about 6 kilos worth. Got my mark scribed around there, so I'll just get the little cut-off wheel and the little grinder and cut that off. There you go. Went a little bit low in that spot, but that's okay because it's going to be heavier than what I needed it anyway. Now I just got some stainless steel wire, cut it into lengths, put it across there and bent it to hold it in there. And I had some thinner stuff, so I just wound it around there. The whole object of this is it's going to be like the fibres in fiberglass. This stainless steel wire is going to get put inside the lead. When I mould the lead into the bottom of this, the lead's going to be all through these holes on the side, and this wire will be all through the middle of the lead, so it's going to give it a lot of strength. So there's no way that lead should let go, and I won't lose it out of the bottom of the burley pot. I got some lead in that old pot there. There's some old sinkers and lead that I used to make sinkers with to put in the bottom of the burley pot to weigh it down. Now, as always, when you're working with lead or any molten metal, make sure you've got a really good pair of gloves handy, really thick leather gloves, because you have to touch some hot stuff, that's for sure. And also make sure you wear eye protection and plenty of clothing, because if it does splash, the last thing you want is it in your eye. It's going to be bad enough if it lands on your clothing and splashes your face, well, you're going to get burnt. Just be careful. Or you can wear a full face mask if you've got one, but I just try and be careful and wear some eye protection. Right, here's where it gets a little bit dangerous. I'm going to transfer this off there, onto there, put this onto the fire, and then start ladling the molten lead into it. Okay, safely out. Put that on there. Right, that'll do. Now I've got this
and just see how that goes. Getting it down in there, all the way. Okay, I need something to poke those wires down into the lead. And maybe a little bit more lead in there if I can still get some. Can I get any more? Maybe another one. Might get another one. Try another one. Oh, there we go. We've overplayed a bit now. We'll have to stop. Okay. It's got him in. Have a look at that lead level. Okay, I'm not going to get any more in there. So, turn the flame off and we'll just leave that sit there till it sets now, and then we can move it off, and that's the bottom of the burley pot done. Well, that lead's set now. I put my hand over here, I can feel the hot air rising off the lead. There's still plenty of heat in the lead. Safe to lift up now, and there's plenty of weight in that to hold the burley bucket down, I hope. I will weigh it later. Right, well, I'll just leave that sit there for a while longer while that heat dissipates. The metal plates underneath it will help suck some of the heat out the bottom. Heat's largely dissipated now. So there you go. All the wires, I hope you can see that there on the viewfinder, yep. All the wires are well and truly embedded in the lead, so there's no way that lead's coming loose without the whole thing being torn apart. It might be possible to get that paint tin off the bottom of it, but I don't think I'll worry, it'll rust away in no time. Once it starts to rust away, it'll be easier to get off. I'm not going to risk upsetting anything at the moment by trying to prise it off. Next thing to do is to make the lid and attach some lines to it so that I can lower it. Right, just to finish off the burley pot, or not to finish it off, but the next step in the burley pot, I've got this latch, rubber hatch latch I bought for another boat. I was going to put it on for the hatch, but in the finish I decided I didn't need it. So it's been sitting around in the spare parts for a long time. I'm going to use this to put this PVC pipe cover, 150mm, on this for the lid. And that'll hold it closed, and I'm going to use some key rings at the back here, a couple of key rings to make a hinge for it so that it'll flip over. I've already riveted the bottom piece of this on. See if I can get that out of the way. See, a couple of rivets there to hold that in place, and I'm going to drill some holes in here. I've got one marked. Drill 2 holes in here and rivet that onto the top. I'll just have to keep an eye on the rivets because they are aluminium rivets and they will corrode in the salt water. But when I replace them, I'll go and buy some stainless steel ones. I just don't have any at the moment, and I do want to finish the job. So I've drilled those 2 holes there, and I'm about to pop rivet this on. I'm of 2 minds whether to trim this lip down. It's a big lot of lip there. I could trim it down a little bit fancy, make it a lot lower around most of it, and just leave a high where it needs to be for the latch. But if I can get the key rings in without trimming it, I think I might do that because it'll leave the lid a lot stronger. Can't do any harm to have it stronger than it needs to be. Alright, put the camera down and get this pop riveted on. And there you are. That's it in place there. I just need the stainless steel key rings to put on there for the hinges, and I can complete it. They'll probably come Monday. I'll be able to finish it off then. I want the wire out where my marks are and in the rest of the way. Right, well that'll have to do. That's my 4 loops out there. Attach the wire trace onto. Not nearly as neat as I had hoped to do it, but best I can do by the looks of it. That'd be a good lift for now. I need to drill a couple of holes diagonally down in there so that I can hinge that back there. See those marks there now? Oh, 35, more than I thought. Put some holes at 45 degrees down through the side and the top of this, so that when I put that on there, I'll be able to rotate it back. Now I've got these holes here, here, here and here, so that we can go through that way, and turning around the right way would help. Okay, now it's going to flop a little bit there, but that's okay. I'm not too worried about that. It'll hold the burley from coming out, and if it lets a bit extra out there, that's fine. Okay, so now I've got to get some wire trace and make up the harness that's long enough up here to allow the lid to open without snagging on it too much, so that I can get the big lump of burley in there. And I've got a piece of the stainless steel trace, and it's nylon coated, stainless steel, 2 sleeves on it, and it is a 54 kilo. Just happens to be what I had in the tackle box. Let's give this a go now. I'm got a thimble to put on the centre, and while I was getting it I decided that I'd put some on the other side, and if this side starts to wear through I'll do the same with it. Now get these ones done on this other side. I'll just turn him round to make the process a little bit more visible. Before I go any further with that, I've got these thimbles here, but they're a bit wide at the on the end of them. See that there? I'm just going to squeeze them in a little bit so that they're tight together on the end. Surprising how awkward it makes it when you're busy thinking about how you're going to explain what you're doing instead of concentrating on exactly what you're doing. Got those sleeves all the way down now. They won't go any further, and I think there's probably a much better job there, because the wire is not going to wear through the wire trace. This wire won't wear through the wire trace there. Turn this around a bit so you can see what's happening. Down through the inside, back up and back through these sleeves. Get this eye in position before we go any further. Cinch down onto that. Do wish I'd done that on the others now, with the gimbals that is. But okay, done is done. So these are the wires coming up here, and that's where they're ending. Keep that in shot. Push that up a little bit. I've got a thimble here, and again I'll squeeze him in like that and put both wires through this thimble, and then bring the sleeve up to lock it. And there we have it. I am going to crimp that down at that. There you go. That is finished. A little bit fiddly on these hinges. Much more so than I planned. A lot more so than I planned. But it is doable, and I guess it's not all that aggravating with these back out of the way, and then they come up, and there we are. Burley pot. Got to take it and weigh it now, see, just out of curiosity to see what it weighs. Hopefully there's enough weight in there to keep this down and a little bit of current. Just under 12 pounds. I aimed for 6 kilos, and I'm just under. Actually, I got 5 kilos, so about 11 pounds. So yeah, a bit shy of what I wanted, but nevertheless, I can always throw a couple of sinkers in the bottom if I need to.
Well, thanks for taking the time to watch this video. We'll keep you posted on how successful or otherwise this burley pot is. If you'd like to see those videos, it's best to click on the subscribe button and the bell notification beside it, so you'll be notified when I upload a new video. Until Until then, good fishing.